Good afternoon, ma.
Afternoon, my dear.
How are you doing today, ma?
I'm good.
Can you please tell me your name and your age, if possible? You don't have to be precise with the age. You can just give us an insight.
Okay. I am Felicia E. Obede Esquire. I am about 70 years old.
Thank you, ma. Can you just give us a little bit about your background? Like maybe childhood, schooling, and spinsterhood.
Okay. I am 8 of 13 children.
Okay.
My family is one of polygamy. And we are 8 from my mother and 5th of my mother's children. I was born in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. And I attended primary school in Benin City. Attended Eka Memorial Primary School and Baptist Primary School.
Okay.
After my primary education, I attended City Grammar School, also in Benin City. After a while, I have to go into nursing. You have to do career. Chosen career was nursing. And I did nursing. I attended University of Benin Teaching Hospital School of Nursing and graduated with RN 1978, went on to do midwifery 1981. 1987 I did ophthalmic nursing. 1990 I did accident and emergency nursing. Went to the University of Ibadan and did BSc nursing.
Wow.
I was made fellow of the West African College of Nursing in Ghana 2003.
That's wonderful.
And I did bedside nursing when I went into more academic work in nursing. And I started lecturing. I lectured in the School of Post-Basic Nursing, University of Benin.
Wonderful.
When I was working and I felt the job was getting too routinely, it was like a routine, and I wanted more challenges. That was how I entered into accident and emergency. But I also wanted further. I wanted to know why they said lawyers are learned. I wanted to know why they call them learned people. So it was the case to find out that led me into doing law. And I went through University of Benin, Faculty of Law, and went to law school, was called to bar the year 2007.
Wow.
I'm practicing law. I've retired from nursing. I retired in the year 2014, January, and I went into practice. So I'm practicing today. Also, I was appointed into the Judicial Service Commission of my state. So I'm a member of the commission.
That's very impressive. Very, very impressive. I would like to ask you, are you presently married?
Yes, I am married to Dr. Felix Obedi. And he's a medical doctor, he's a medical practitioner. He also read law in the College of Medicine, University of Benin. That was where we met. And We got married in the year 1982, sorry, 1982, September 18.
That's good. So precisely, your marriage is over 40 years.
We were 40 years last September.
From your experience, can you tell us how sweet marriage can be?
Okay, sweet. It can be sweet. It can be cumbersome. It can be everything. Marriage is a complex institution. Although some people will see it as being simple. Okay. It has its own simple part and it has its complex part. It's an institution where you are giving your certificate before you enter into it. And so you meet upheavals, but the ability to cope with it is through God's grace. It's by the grace of God that one is able to cope with the challenges that come with marriage.
That's good. I would like to know, because I can see you are well read, and you have been in the marriage for 40 years, and during this marriage you've been able to acquire more knowledge, and you've gone back to school and done all this. How were you able to cope with marriage, children, school, and job at the same time?
Okay, it is the grace of God and determination. Determination, if you have a focus, you have a purpose, you set a goal for yourself in life, and then you ask God to lead you. And so when you pray to God, you also match your prayers with actions. You don't just see it and say, oh God, do this for me, and you don't also carry out any form of action. So you have to do all that. And you have to plan your day, because it wasn't all rosy from the beginning. Like I mentioned, it has its own challenges. And when I was a younger nurse, a junior nurse, I worked and did bedside nursing. My husband was also a junior doctor, from house job to doing residency, and then he has to be moved out of our town where we were living. He was going to other parts of the state. From there, he was also traveling outside the country, and so I had a lot of tasks. I have to cope with the task of being the mother and father of the house, especially when it's not there. And so my day started 5 a.m. And so you have to make sure you cook, you prepare for her to get to work. Initially, you don't even have a vehicle to go with. You have to go with public transport, and you have to arrive at your place of work early, so that you do not shirk your responsibility, or you're not said to be irresponsible and not alive to your responsibility. So you have to carry out your work according to the tenets of the profession, or whatever is set for you to do by your superior officers. And we also had some mentors we have to look up to say, oh, I want to be like this nurse. I want to be like this nurse. And so those were things that really aided me, in addition to God that also was there for me. Because when I did my first degree, I have to go to Ibadan, and my home is in Benin City. From Ibadan back home, I went, did master's degree. This time I didn't have to go to Ibadan. I have to do the master's in health planning and management. in order to progress in my chosen career. So I did all that. After that, and I said, I want to, for the fellowship, because they said once you are made a fellow, you can become a consultant and all that. I have to go through the program. I have to go to Ghana. Ghana is in West Africa. And so, where I was one of those made fellow of the West African College of Nursing in 2003, the Faculty of Med-Surg as medical and surgical nursing.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay. According to marriages these days, we see a lot of homes breaking up especially when the woman in the house is progressing and is, maybe the families of the husband or colleagues now see the woman as a threat to the home. Like, was your husband supportive? Was he in support of you going back to school, getting those degrees and acquiring those knowledges? Was he supportive? And then was there any, or was he not, or was there challenges from him or maybe from his people or anything?
Okay, you cannot rule out those things you have just mentioned, but in all, he was very supportive. He was supportive. We have to send our daughter to a boarding school, because ordinarily I would have been the one to be taking her to school and taking her back. But it wasn't easy. Parting. The parting was not an easy one. So sometimes you are so emotional, you are far away, you cannot reach out to your husband, you can't reach out to the children at all. It wasn't quite easy. But all the same, life goes on, because if you have an objective, if you have set an objective for yourself, you must make sure you don't fall by the wayside. You have to work hard to achieve that objective.
Okay. Now, this brings me to the next question. Nowadays, we see that a lot of people that are well-read like you, that are big in the society, they find it so very difficult to cook at home, or maybe, to serve the husband food. But in your own case, I see it as something I would want all women to emulate, because you are always in the kitchen cooking. Even when you are not feeling that strong, you still manage to get up to cook, and mostly you personally serve your husband food. So is this something you learned when you're growing up, maybe from home, or you decided to do it your way? Because according to you, what you said, raised from a polygamous home.
Yes. Definitely, it was part of my upbringing. My mother did that. I saw her doing it. As children, we were also part of it. You have your daily chores that you are asked to perform in the home while growing up. And so we did all that. School, whether you're schooling or you're not schooling, you have to do those things. And so when I got married, I continued with it. And cooking is what I like doing. Really and truly, I like cooking. It's like a hobby to me. Apart from watching TV, listening to news, and maybe watching and looking at political issues on telly, cooking is the other thing I really like doing. And so when you cook, the cooking is a more tasking job, tasking work than serving the meal. So if you have been able to cook, why don't you serve the meal? So I like doing it.
Thank you so very much for those questions and for the answers. Then this one now brings me to the next question. So, in the years of your marriage, I know we cannot compare those days with nowadays because a lot of things have changed. What can you say that really, maybe few things that made your marriage to last this long, that is lacking in the marriages of nowadays?
Okay. I think basic understanding of what the marriage institution is. And in the past, if you're going to get married, make sure you do it when you are ready for it. You be matured for marriage, and not maybe an accidental thing, like, oh, I just, because I got pregnant, I have to marry him. No, let it be that you are ready for marriage, and the person too you're going to get married to is your friend, your confidant, somebody you can share a lot of experiences with. You grow up together, you date yourselves, and you get to know each other better. Although you don't know yourselves in total, because life is dynamic. Human beings are so dynamic. A human person is a dynamic person, and so you can change. You can see some changes, and say, oh, this is not what I expected. This was not how this person was. But the fact that you have said, oh, I want to do this, you know, said, okay, I chose to do it. Let me go through the hug. And if peradventure it becomes too cumbersome and turbulent, the urge is there to move, to leave. But in the past, some of us are seeing divorce as a taboo. So let me not bring my family's name down. Let me not bring myself down. People look up to you. They don't even know what you are going through. Whether sometimes you are able to eat 3 square meals a day, or it's just a square meal you are able to, nobody knows. And your comportment in the society, the way you carry on, the confidence you exude, make people to look up to you to say, oh, if this person can do it, why can't I do it? But I must confess to you that it is the grace of God. It takes the grace of God to be able to carry on.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, as we all know that we were not brought up from the same household, and even children born from the same parents don't have the same character.
Even
so, yes, they don't have the same character. Okay, now, concerning your attitude towards stuff, maybe things that happen, and then you look at your husband, are you always on the same page, or there was always disagreement on stuff? And how were you able to resolve those things?
Okay. My husband is a very quiet, calm, and collected person. But I, on the other hand, I know myself, I'm somebody who is very blunt to a fault. When I got married to him, he used to tell me it's not like that. I used to call him Professor of Diplomacy. He's more diplomatic than me. If I don't like an issue, I will express myself and say, look, this thing, I don't like it. And then if he did it continuously, the tendency is for me to fall out with him. And sometimes in my very quiet moment, I'll say, the reaction I put up this last time about this issue, was it really right? I will do some rational thinking and say, oh, I didn't do this well. I can go back and say, I'm sorry. Men don't like saying sorry.
Yeah.
Rather, they will do things to please you. Sorry can solve a lot of things. If you just say sorry, and then you say, don't try it again next time. Okay. And if you want to show that, oh, you are very stubborn, and then you now say, if I try it, what will happen? Everyone will not break loose. I will try it again. But if you know the person you are going with, he doesn't know, he doesn't keep malice, but he will tell you, this thing you did, I don't like it. He can I don't want to say he was keeping malice or whatever. He can be withdrawn. But when I say that, I have to try to pull him out of that mood. He will tell me that thing you did was really uncalled for. So you have to get to know yourselves. Understanding matters a lot. And so when you are together in marriage, you're going to take certain steps and say, if I do this with my spouse, will they like it or will he not like it? The same thing for the man. He is going to ask himself, oh, this thing I'm going to do now, will my wife like it? So if you have good understanding, if there's a proper understanding between yourselves, you're not likely to fall apart. Even when you quarrel, you will surely come back, you will settle. There's the adage that says even the teeth and the tongue, they are the next neighbor, they are very close neighbor, they work together for a purpose, for the purpose of a lot of things. They still quarrel, and so they still live together. So when you look at that, you say, okay, let me just forgive you. There's that singer that said, what's her name now, that said, sometimes it's hard to be a woman, to be a married woman. You give all your love to just one man. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. But if you love your husband, you will forgive him. Same thing, if you love, if he also loves you, he forgives. So you're not saying, okay, why are we going to be quarreling? Until you also look at it, it's like Jane Eyre. In Jane Eyre, what's the author of that book who said, life is so short to be spent nursing animosities and registering wrongs. You did this last time, you did this the other time, I'm not going to take this from you. It's uncalled for. Your life is too short. You don't know when God is going to say, you are coming home now. So for that reason, try to be a good neighbor.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, ma. Then we just have a few more questions. The question I'm going to ask now is, how do you say in this marriage, do you appreciate yourselves? Does he appreciate you? Do you appreciate him?
It's a relative term, it's appreciation. Do you appreciate yourselves? Does he appreciate? Do you appreciate? Yes, we do.
That's good. That's good. That's good to hear. Now, do you have any advice for the upcoming generation, the spinsters and bachelors about to marry, and the ones that are already married, maybe in the early stage of their marriage?
Well, we have a lot of advice to give to them. Before you go into marriage, know yourselves. You should be friendly. You should be very friendly with your partner. If you are friends, he knows like what I mentioned before. You understand yourselves. He knows what you don't like. You know what he doesn't like. And so you try as much as possible not to offend each other. So even if you do, it may be an accidental thing. It may be something you meant to do. It was deliberate. And then you say, it was a deliberate act. It wasn't by mistake. And so if he comes and says, oh, I'm sorry, you should be able to forgive him. And you have to bear with each other, carry each other's burden. You can confide in yourselves, because I remember certain times when you have issues in the family and they will say, oh, she's the one who said it to me. My husband will say, no, it's not my wife. She's not the one that said it. So I will deny for her in total. Or that, oh, I saw her leaving one house, so I'm going to the other one. We say no. It's not my wife. She is even the one. He was the one who was always telling me, you have neighbors, you have this, you don't even go to visit them, you don't go to, I said, what will I be discussing? if I go to visit, what am I going to discuss with them? So you must know yourselves. And sometimes some people will say, I need a man who will love me 100%. And that we get the features and characters that we have 100%. You can never find such in any man. So if you are very lucky and you get 70% or 60 to 70, that's a distinction. And so credit or distinction. And you should be able to tolerate yourselves. And when you are now growing older in the marriage, you know yourselves better. And so you are able to manage yourselves better. Do not listen to outside talk. Because if you do, your marriage will not last the time it's supposed to. It will not work. Because if you have so many outside influence, it will not work. Although some couples, I don't know whether to say discordant, because if you know what it takes for a marriage to work, and you both work on it, then the marriage will work. But when you are not ready, you don't say anything out, you don't see anything good about your partner, you have nothing good to talk about, you don't discuss with the person, and there's a big communication gap. At times, you have to fix blame. He says the man is always beating his wife, but you haven't asked what the woman did, or the woman is always insulting the husband. You haven't found out what the man was doing that was annoying the woman. So it's a reciprocal thing. If this one is doing what is wrong and you know that it hurts your partner, you do away with it. Sometimes certain things are bound to happen, but you must talk it over. Don't just go getting verbal aggression. Verbal aggression cannot lead to assault and physical combat. You now batter yourselves. At the end of the day, you can. Some will almost kill. Some will go as far as getting a gun to shoot. That's extreme state of violence. It's not proper. And these were two persons who came together as a result of love, and they promised to love each other till death do them part. But as they start, maybe it's just, let's see, if we have if we say, oh, life is a 360-degree thing, you just enter 15 degrees, you now start seeing problems that are manifesting. These are not things you bargained for. Then you now go into physical, getting beaten. And if a woman knows what the man does not like, so women are very mouthy. They just say certain things, they don't care. You can hit his head on the wall. Same thing for men. Some men are so terrible. They are not alive to their responsibilities. They will not provide what will keep the home going. Especially if the wife is not working or is not earning enough, you know you earn better, and you can pay some bills, you can take off some bills so that the family can be happy. You now say, no, I can't do that too. If the man says no, or if the wife is not working at all, you know that she's not working and the responsibilities are on you. You don't even need to fight over it or to deny your wife, your children, everything, bills. You say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. In which case, if you know you have the money, you are becoming a slave to that money. You work hard for it, and you also carry your wife along. Let her know what comes to the house and why she has to manage the home within the available means and resources you have. So a situation where you do not communicate with your wife, you are bound to run into trouble. A lot of problems that can lead to violence in the home.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so very much, Mommy.
Thank you.
Thank you for granting us some part of your time to be shared with us. We thank you so much. We'll still bring you some other time when we'll have people to ask you questions directly.
Okay.
But thank you. Can you just tell us your name once again?
Okay, Mrs. Felicia E. Obeidi.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
We are really grateful for this time spent with you. Thank you. Till next time.